Last question. Many scientists believe we will soon create machines which can think far more powerfully than humans. Is it possible that such machines could become self-aware and develop consciousness? And if so, could a spiritual machine arise? Or can such properties exist only through a biological substrate? That takes us into science fiction. A very fundamental question that mainstream science has an answer for that, but I believe a change will come. The origin of consciousness. Is consciousness an epiphenomenon? If you don't like that word, let's use byproduct. Is consciousness a byproduct of the physical brain? Or, in other words, is consciousness created by the material brain? Or is consciousness ultimately independent of the brain and only manifests in a particular way through the biological brain, in the same way that a radio receiver does not produce the radio program, it receives it and then it gives it a particular form, and so we can receive it through it. It is a medium for transmitting consciousness. But the consciousness does not originate in the radio receiver. What I believe to be the case, that the consciousness is not produced by the brain, but it uses the brain. But that's up to you. It's not ultimately decisive what you believe here. Is it possible that machine achieve such complexity that they can become vehicles for consciousness? If the brain does not produce consciousness, which I believe we are going to realize soon even in the mainstream, if the brain does not produce consciousness but is a conduit for consciousness, is it possible that machines, they would have to become incredibly complex, because even our most complex computers are very primitive compared to the brain. If they ever achieve such complexity that they become capable of transmitting consciousness, it is conceivable. Or there could be a symbiosis between biological and non-biological, as we've seen in some movies. Biological and non-biological, and become a semi-biological computer. And so that, yes, of course, there can be all kinds of things. The universe is infinite in its capacity for creating new forms. And it's well possible that it could create through humans another life form that is capable not of producing consciousness, but of receiving consciousness. So far my iPhone has not become conscious. Every day I look at it and say, no, not yet. Although sometimes it looks as if it had a mind of its own, as the expression goes. This one could talk about for much longer, but it would also be interesting to write spiritual science fiction. Some of it exists already. Some episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation have a strong spiritual, as you can see, I'm a fan. just present, just a space of presence. There's nobody in particular here, not a person, just points of presence, all expressions of the one consciousness manifesting as little points of light, which sometimes mistake themselves as persons. They flicker for a moment, and then they die down, then another one arises. That's you. The light of consciousness, you are that. And then it withdraws, and then the body goes, gone. And then it comes again. Wonderful.